talking about writing module, and today's video's topic is Academic Writing Task 1, Process Diagrams, and this is the part 3 video out of the 3 videos that we will be having for Academic Writing Task 1 for Process Diagrams specifically. So before these videos, we had 3 separate videos for charts, tables, and diagrams, and for this one, this is specifically for process diagrams, and I would recommend that if you guys haven't watched our part 1 and part 2 videos, do go and visit them, because this video, the content of this video has a big relation to what we have covered in the previous 2 videos. So if you have already watched them, you can enjoy this video, and I am Tahmid Alamgir, your tutor from Lekhapora Online, and hope you guys find this video helpful. So let's get on with the video. So first, a lot of people think that, okay, I only have 20 minutes for task 1. So do I really have enough time to revise my work? So you should at least spend around 3 to 4 minutes to revise your essay after you write. And this is because when you revise your essay, you check through the whole content and the language of your essay, and this would basically help you realize if you had made any silly mistakes, if you had made any punctuation mistakes, any grammatical errors. And once you revise your work, it just allows you to score a better mark, because otherwise, if you fail to revise your work and you end up having a couple of mistakes here and there, due to those silly mistakes, you're just going to lose unnecessary marks. So revising your work is as important as planning your work is. So you also check to make sure that the essay is clear and it is well organized, and that you have used the correct grammar and spelling. And there is no need to rewrite everything when you revise. You can just simply cross out any mistakes, and with the upper arrow you can make the correction, or you can simply make some punctuation corrections, and it's not big of a hassle. So revising, it actually has more advantages and it does not have any disadvantages. So here we have given you a revision checklist which you can use to basically revise your work. So the first one is to address the task. So addressing the task means to check whether you have mentioned your topic sentence and your general statement. So once you have written the whole essay, you go through the essay and you just check if you have mentioned the topic sentence, if you have mentioned the general statement, and then you move to coherence. And coherence is basically the main idea of the paragraph, whether you have included all the steps that the process is basically showing, and whether you have supported those details with the relevant information. Then you have cohesion, which is basically the introduction and the conclusion, and basically the transition words, whether you have, as in process diagrams, there are many steps, so you basically have to link each of those steps with transition words, and basically the whole flow of the essay, is it in good flow or not, is it in proper English or not. And then we have lexical resources, which can also be referred to as vocabulary or spellings. So you check your vocabulary. If you have used some good vocabulary, rich vocabulary, then you check your spellings, your grammar, if you have made any mistakes. So then comes the sixth topic in the checklist, which is grammatical range and accuracy. So you have to check whether you have included a wide variety of sentences, whether you have a high accuracy of the words that you have used, and whether they fit in those particular sentences, and whether they make proper sense or not. So moving forward, let's take a look at this example. If you remember the grape example, so in this example, the diagram below shows the process of producing raisins from grapes. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So take a look at this picture, and now we will show you the model answer. So this is the model answer, and what we are going to do is we're going to basically go through the answers, and then we are going to check with our revision checklist and revise this whole essay. And that is sort of a tutorial of how you should revise your own essay when you write it. So for you guys, I'll just read it through. So the diagram presents the steps for making raisins from grapes. It takes several steps to go from grapes on the vine to packaged raisins ready for sale. To begin, the grapes are picked from the vines. After picking, they are laid in the sun to dry. It takes 2 to 3 weeks to dry the fruit. When the raisins are dry, they are packed in boxes and taken by truck to the processing plant. After the plant, the raisins go through a cleaner which removes bits of dirt. Next, they are washed in a washer. Before the raisins are packed, they are sorted by size. Then the raisins are put in different kinds of packages. Some raisins are put in small packages and they are sold to grocery stores. Some are put in larger packages to be sold to the commercial bakeries or to be exported to other countries. So this is basically the model answer of this process diagram. So now we are going to see if this essay has all the elements that our revision checklist mentions. So first, let's take a look at whether it has a proper topic sentence. So just to refresh your memory, the first sentence of the essay is basically regarded as the topic sentence, and it tells the topic of the diagram and lets the reader know that the essay is about the diagram. So the topic sentence or the first sentence is basically going to tell you about the topic of the diagram and what the diagram is about. And if we take a look at this essay, so the topic sentence for this essay is that the diagram presents the steps for making raisins from grapes. So this sentence gives the reader an idea of what the essay is about and what the diagram is demonstrating. So what is it demonstrating? It is demonstrating the steps for making raisins from grapes. So this essay has a proper topic sentence. Now we are going to check for general statement. So the second sentence of the essay is the general statement. So first we have the topic sentence and then we have the general statement. So the general statement briefly summarizes the information presented in the diagram. So the topic sentence and the general statement together should allow the readers to have a full picture of the process diagram. They should know what the process diagram is telling you, and basically a short summary, one-line summary of what the process diagram is about. So together with the topic sentence, it introduces the reader to the essay. It's an introduction. The topic sentence and the general statement is an introduction to the essay. So it's going to be effectively explaining the readers what the process diagram is about and what the essay is going to talk about. So here let's check our general statement. So it states that it takes several steps to go from grapes on the vine to packaged raisins ready for sale. So the topic sentence tells us that this process diagram is going to show the steps of making raisins from grapes. And the general statement tells us that, okay, the grapes are taken from the vines and then the grapes go through many steps till they are ready and packaged and ready for sale. So these two sentences alone has given the reader a whole image of what the process diagram is about and what the essay is going to talk about. So now, the third one, which is we have to check for sequence of steps. So this diagram shows the steps in a process. So the essay must describe the steps in sequence. So process diagrams have many steps, one after another. So when you write the essay, you should write it in such a way that enables the readers to understand that, okay, after this step, we have this step, and then we have the other step. So it should be it should be synchronized and it should be in order. So the essay describes these steps in the sequence that they are presented in the diagram, and for that you should use certain words that helps you to understand, okay, so this step comes after the previous step. So you have to write it in that way. So the sequence of steps in this essay helps you to understand that what is happening after what. So first we have picked from the vines, and then we have laid in the sun to dry. So we know that, okay, the grapes are first picked from the vines and then they are laid under the sun to dry. packed in boxes and taken by the truck to the processing plant. So from there, it's packed in boxes and taken to the processing plant where the grapes will be processed to be turned into raisins. Then we have go through a cleaner. So it is cleaned, then we have washed in a washer. So once it's cleaned, it's again washed in a washer. Then it is sorted by size, because grapes can be of different sizes. So they are sorted by size, and then they are put in different kinds of packages, and then they are sold to stores, commercial bakeries, and exported. So all these shows the sequence of steps in order, and I'm sorry about the sound. So as I was saying, all these steps shows the sequence of the whole process, and this enables the reader to basically read and have a picture of the diagram, that what step comes after which one. So now comes the English writing bit. So we have to use transition words so that we can explain the reader that, okay, this step comes after the previous one, or this step is basically followed by this one. So we have to use transition words to enable the readers to basically understand that, okay, this is a whole process followed by many steps, and basically it also ensures that your essay is in good flow. So first, so as I have already mentioned, transition words helps you connect ideas. You have two subjects or two ideas, and when you use the transition words, you connect these two ideas, making it seem like that, okay, so first this step happens and then the second one happens. So this essay describes a sequence of steps and uses sequence words and phrases to connect the ideas. So a couple of examples of the transition words used in this model essay is, for example, to begin, the grapes are picked. So to begin gives you an idea that, okay, this is the first step. So first, the grapes are picked from the vines. Then we have after picking. So after picking immediately lets you know that, okay, whichever step is now being mentioned, it's happening after the grapes have been picked. Then we have next, they are washed. So again, you know that, okay, next, so means whatever was done in the previous step, now they are being washed. Then we have before the raisins are packaged. So before the raisins are packaged means that before the raisins are packaged, there are some other steps that must be ensured. So before the raisins are packaged, the raisins must be, for example, sorted by size, or they must be washed properly. So these are ways you can basically make the writing very interesting. Then we have then the raisins are put. So then means, okay, afterwards the raisins are done this. So all these transition words help you connect ideas and helps the reader basically understand that what is happening after what. So then we check for grammar and spelling. So correct grammar and spelling helps you keep your ideas clear to the reader. So if you have grammatical errors or if you have spelling mistakes, then this will enable the reader to not understand what you want to explain effectively. So your write-up is gonna be it's gonna be insensible, and it's basically gonna lead to poorer marks. So that's why you should use the correct grammar, and you should not have any spelling mistakes. Your past, present, and all these tenses must be in the correct form, and you should write it in such a way where you don't have any grammatical errors or anything. Okay, so now we look at whether the essay has used proper grammar and are there any spelling mistakes or not. So it's very important that when you are writing your essay, you make sure that there are no grammatical errors or there are no spelling mistakes. In that way, if there are any grammatical errors or if there are spelling mistakes, then your essay would become more insensible to the reader, and also it's going to attract lower marks. So correct grammar and spelling helps you keep your ideas clear to the reader, and it actually helps your essay more attractive and more enjoyable to read. And if we read this model essay, and you will see that there are no grammatical errors or there are no spelling mistakes, which is key while writing your task 1. So next we check for sentence variety. So using a variety of sentence types in your essay can help you express your ideas more clearly, and it makes your essay more interesting to read. So one thing that is very important when writing your task 1 is that you should try to make your writing more interesting. So writing in a way, for example, that you're writing that, okay, first the grapes are picked from the vines, then they are sent to the processing plant, then they are washed, or then they are cleaned, then they are sorted to sizes. So this makes the essay very monotonous. So you don't want your tone of the essay to be boring. So in order to make your essay interesting, you must use a variety of sentences, simple sentences, complex sentences, compound sentences. So this will show the range of your writing ability, which will obviously attract higher marks, and also the essay will be more interesting to the reader. So here are some examples. For example, a simple sentence from this model essay can be that next they are washed in a washer. So this is a simple sentence, only one subject and one idea being explained in the sentence. So we have a complex sentence here. Before the raisins are packaged, they are sorted by size. So this is a complex sentence because it is connecting two ideas. So before the raisins are packed, there is some other step that must be ensured, which is that they must be sorted by size. So this is a complex sentence. Let's look at an example of a compound sentence. So some raisins are put in small packages and they are sold to grocery stores. So two ideas. When you are using compound sentences, you must have a punctuation mark to basically divide the two ideas that are being mentioned in the sentence. So these are a couple of ways you can make your writing more interesting, and you can actually attract more marks. So now we have two activities for you guys. So just as we have explained how you should revise your work through the revision checklist, we have given you two activities, and we want you to do the same thing that I just have shown you. So here we have an example here. So you can read it through. The diagram below shows the process of recycling plastic bottles. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So this is the whole step. You can see the steps being numbered. So you go through the picture, you understand the diagram, and then we have this model answer, the model essay. So you go through it, you read the essay, and then using the revision checklist that we have given you, this revision checklist, you have to basically answer these questions. So you need to find the topic sentence and underline it. You need to find the general statement and underline it. In the body of the essay, put a tick mark, put a tick mark next to each step in the process that is shown on the diagram. So in the body, the whole process diagram is going to be explained through each of the steps. So we want you guys to read the body, and then for each of the steps that the essay mentions, you just put a tick, and you make sure that the steps, like all the steps have been mentioned. So you go back to the process diagram, you check if okay, there are, for example, 6 steps, and you go and read the essay and see whether all of the 6 steps have been mentioned accurately. Then you circle the transition words and phrases. So remember the transition words that we talked about. So you look for those words and you circle them. You check your grammar and spelling and correct if there is any error. So you go through the essay, you check for the grammar and the spelling errors, and if there are any mistakes or errors you find, you basically cut it, or you can just write it in your own piece of paper. And lastly, we need you guys to find and mark one simple sentence, one compound sentence, and one complex sentence. So so you guys can basically read it through, and then following these, you guys just check and go through and revise the essay. It's only going to take you about 3 minutes at most. And then we have another activity for you guys. It's a different process diagram. This is the before and after snapshots of a particular library, if you guys remember, the Task-built public library. So you guys go the same for this one as well. You guys go through the diagram, you understand the diagram, look for the changes, and then you guys read the model answer. Once you have gone through the model answer, you guys can then follow the revision checklist and answer these questions. So you find the topic sentence, you find the general statement. In the body of the essay, put a tick mark by each different item described in the before paragraph. So in here, the response of the essay will be slightly different, as it's talking about the before and after and not the process steps. So here, everything that they identified, that for example, before this room was in this area, but now this room is in that area. So you basically, wherever they mention the change that has been made from the before snapshot to the after snapshot, wherever there is a change being made to the place, you put a tick there. In the body of the essay, put a check tick by each change described in the before paragraph. And then lastly, we have circle the transition words and phrases similar to the previous one. Check for grammatical errors and correct them if there are any errors, and find a simple sentence, a complex sentence, and a compound sentence. And you can just label them with SS, CXS, and CMCXS. So this is just a small practice work for you guys, and this should enable you guys to understand how you should be revising your work. So lastly, once you have done both of those previous activities, here we have a test for you guys. So this is the process diagram. So you have each of the steps being numbered here. The diagram below shows how coffee beans are processed. So summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So you have to write an essay, at least 150 words. You know the instructions for Task-1, but I have already mentioned it here. And in response to the following task, remember to allow yourself only 20 minutes. So you time yourself. You take a stopwatch, you press 20 minutes, and you start working. You do the planning first, spend about 5 minutes for planning, then you write it for 12 minutes, and then you revise it just the way we have shown you. So this is for just imagine yourself that you're in the exam hall and you're going to be writing your Task-1 exam, and you just write it exactly the way you would have written it if you were in an exam hall. And you must make sure that you time yourself, because that's going to give you an idea of how much you need to work in that particular area. So for example, if you don't time yourself and you take as long as you want to write this Task-1, you're not going to be assessing yourself accurately. So it is very important that you time yourself, and then you see whether you can finish it within 20 minutes or not. And if you can, then you must work on your pace. So yeah, this is just a refreshing activity, and hope this will help you. So a couple of takeaway points from this video is that revising your work is as important as planning before writing. So once you're done writing, spend around 3 minutes just to go through the work, just to check whether all of the elements are present there, whether you have the topic sentence, whether you have the general statement, whether all of the steps that you're describing are in order, and whether they are connected with proper transition words, whether the conclusion is effectively summarizes the whole essay, and whether your essay is free from any grammatical mistakes, spelling errors, and the flow of the write-up is very accurate and sensible. So all these will actually enable you to attract more marks, and you're going to be avoiding making silly mistakes and losing marks unnecessarily. So just a recap of the whole academic writing Task-1 process diagrams videos. So we had 3 videos. The first one was for planning, the second one was for writing part, and this one is for revising. So just a recap, you are going to have 20 minutes for task 1. You should spend 5 minutes for planning, and that will actually make the writing part a lot easier. So you have to identify the process diagram that is given. You need to determine the task, the topic of the graph, and understand all the details of the whole process. Then once you have done that, you start writing. Spend about 12 minutes to write, and the writing part should be divided into the introduction and the body of the paragraph. The introduction must include a topic sentence and a general statement. These two sentences is basically going to effectively help the reader understand what the diagram is about and what the essay will be talking about. Then you have the body, and the body must include the following. It must be written in passive voice. If you can recall from part 2 video that we had, you must include sequence words and phrases to link different ideas. It's very important. It's going to help you with the flow of the write-up. It's going to make your write-up more sensible. Then you must describe the location of the details in process diagrams of changes to a place. So when you're talking about the before and after process diagram, the snapshots of a before and an after, so when you're dealing with those diagrams, it is very important that you mention the location of where the changes have been made. So for example, if before a change, so for example, in the before snapshot, if there is a lake on the left side of the river, and on the after snapshot there is no lake, then you have to make sure that you mention the location of the lake in the before picture and what has happened to the lake in the after picture. So mentioning the location is very important because it's going to help the reader imagine, and that's what you're going to be assessed on. It's very important to be able to explain what you're seeing. So the diagram is there, but your essay alone should help the reader imagine the diagram. And lastly, once you're done with writing, you spend around 3 minutes to go through your whole work and check for all parts and check whether all of the elements mentioned in the revision checklist are present. So with that, I would like to thank you guys for sticking by and hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please do share this video, like and subscribe, and we are going to have more IELTS content similar to these. Do check the part 1 and part 2 videos, and also do check the academic writing task 1 for charts, graphs and tables. So with that,